Keli Holiday. Welcome to Airing Your Dirty Laundry.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
What should I call you? Kelly or Adam? Because aliases are a funny thing.
Call me K-hole.
K-hole.
Yeah, like J-Lo or J-Law.
Yeah. Okay, I'm into it. Have you been called that before?
No, not until today.
No, okay.
So now I'm running with it. Just call me Kelly. Call me K-hole.
Yeah.
Call me Adamo.
I want to start at the start because I don't know if I've heard much about, like, you're growing up. You grew up in Canberra? Is that right?
Yeah.
What was your childhood like?
My childhood was interesting. Canberra's a pretty... it's a basin.
Yeah.
The town itself is literally a basin. It's a crater.
Mm-hmm.
There's no beach, which is fine. I grew up skateboarding every single day, which I loved.
Yeah.
That kind of shaped who I am. And it's an interesting town because it's kind of like footy players, drug dealers, bikies, and wannabe politicians. But then amidst all that, when I kind of came into my teens, there's a nightclub culture. Well, there was then, that was very prominent and created a good sense of community for a bunch of rat bags. And I found a lot of solace in that. And I think that's where I kind of came into my own as best as one could. But then when I moved to Sydney, when I was 19, I jumped on a bus.
You jumped on a bus?
Jumped on a bus and I came here. And that's when the flowers started blossoming a bit. I was kind of like, oh, wow, And I still feel that. Coming from Canberra, I learned a lot about just the excitement of life in comparison.
Totally.
And not to shit on Canberra, I got nothing but love for that town. But growing up there, it's an interesting place, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do music in school? Were you, like, musical?
I was always banging on shit.
Yeah.
But no, my first music teacher kicked me out of the class.
Really?
Yeah, she did not like me.
Why?
I think my tendency to not pay attention rubbed her the wrong way, which is fair enough,
Were you playing?
But I wasn't disruptive. She just didn't. I think I was playing. I had like a rock song that I'd made that was like, the lyrics were quite, not conducive to what the curriculum was looking for. And she got really mad at me and she kicked me out of the class. And she said some pretty crazy things to me, and I was like, oh, whatever. But not to discredit all teachers, because then college in Canberra is year 11 and 12. And in year 11 and 12, there was a music teacher there called John Tucker. And he saw something in me. Don't know what it was. Don't know how he could have seen it. But I was making beats for this rap crew.
Really?
And he was like, look, you can use this, because we didn't have the equipment, but in that classroom there was the equipment. And he was aware that we weren't really going to school at that point. And he's like, look, I don't care about, what you're doing. I know you're not doing what you're meant to be doing per se, but if you need a place to be creative and do your thing, you can use this spot. You just need to let me know when, and I'll make sure we can do it. So he did. And then it was kind of this little haven where we would just cook up beats and record. And then that's where I kind of found out, like, oh, you can be nurtured in your own way with the right guidance. And, that's what a great teacher, I think, will do. It's not setting a blanket across the whole room. It's kind of catering. And that's a hard job. You can't cater to every individual. So I understand the need for, structure. But if it weren't for John Tucker, I don't think I'd be here doing this at all. I'm not sure what I'd be doing, but
interesting. So when you moved to Sydney, you had the idea of doing music?
I was already doing music at that point.
Okay,
so me and Reuben.
So you met Reuben in Canberra?
I met Reuben when I was 14.
Right.
At the skate park in Canberra.
Wow.
And we were dating the same girl at the same time.
Shut up.
Yeah.
At 14?
Real talk. At 14, yeah.
And you guys were cool with it?
And he was a rollerblader and I was a skateboarder. We went to opposing schools and we were dating the same girl. So all the cards were stacked against us.
Really?
But we fell in love with each other immediately. And then he was in a band that was doing quite well locally. And then I was just kind of making these rap beats. And then we went to the same college. And a friend of ours gave us this mixtape that he'd made of like electro. It was like Crookers and Bloody Beetroots and like a lot of Italian and French crazy primal dance music. And then we're like, let's try and make this together. And we just fell in love with the culture surrounding it. So I guess like indie sleaze is what you would call it now. But that's when it was really there. It's quite prominent.
Yeah.
And we did our best to kind of emulate that and started DJing and making beats. And then
when you were like 16, 17?
when we were young,
yeah,
we were really
wow,
young. Yeah.
wow.
And then we got a gig at a cocktail bar, and then we got fired. They hired us for a residency, but we got fired because we got people dancing. And I was like, well, that's a great sign. You know, we got to keep
Why
going.
didn't they want people dancing?
They wanted everyone seated. They wanted it to be quite a, you know, fancy.
Because it's a
dinner.
cocktail. Oh, right,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Like we're in the dim lights. We've
Dim
got
light,
like
sexy, cool swab. Yeah,
right.
no one's dancing here. But then Reuben was moving to Sydney with his now wife, and he's like, you got to come to Sydney, we got to do this. So I jumped on that bus and then moved around the corner from here. And Golden Features, shout out to him, you know, he fronted our rent for like what feels like a lifetime. And we all lived together and just made beats.
Because that's interesting, because Golden Features was the first person you showed the Keli stuff to, right?
Correct, yeah.
That's
That's my like, you know, he's my guy. I love him more than anything.
Wow, that is so cool. It's
Yeah.
like full circle.
It is, yeah. I think there's been a lot of moments between me and him where it is full circle. We've always kind of been each other's crutch, for lack of a better term. I think, like, you know, he's got so many great ideas. He finds it hard to kind of whack the weeds, so to speak. And, like, I don't have that many great ideas at all, but I do find it hard to whack the weeds through life. You know? So it's good to have someone that, you know, you can always just talk to about anything, and they'll be there, you know.
But that's interesting you say you don't have any great ideas, because I was reading about how when you started the Keli project, that you had come off the back of the 3 months of touring with Peking Duck. You're going through like a lot of life changes and things. And you said that you had just sat down and like 12 songs just kind of came out, right? So then do you reckon you don't have good ideas then? If like...
Well, I think there's a difference between a great idea and the expelling of any idea. You know, I think what happened was it just came out of me. And when I look back at that first album, like, I don't shame it, but I'm not really proud of it in the sense of, like, if I had my time with it again, I would have done it differently. I would have sat with it for a bit, but that's life, you know, it's a bit of progress and learning. But I think I did learn a lot through that process of, like, oh, I can just sit down with a guitar and write songs now, you know, that was nice. But the way my mind works is I am always thinking of ideas and putting down ideas. Like this last week, I had my first 2 days off in a very long time, and I kind of sat down. I was like, oh, I've already got lots of demos kind of together for the next album for Keli.
Yeah.
And that was a nice feeling. I find that I'm happiest when I'm in that kind of space of, like, oh, let's just cook ideas. You know, I like that.
Yeah.
How many of them are great? That's not for me to say. You know, I know when I've got something that I love, and that's quite rare. You know, but when that does happen, it makes it all worth it. You know?
Yeah, totally. And then I guess going back to like being in Canberra, because something I'm curious about with yourself is like these ideas, and you write now about vulnerability, but then you're also quite a vulnerable person as well. And I'm curious, like, your mum, what was she like? What's your mother like? What kind of figure is she?
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's an angel.
Yeah.
I have really fond memories of her. You know, if we're talking about Canberra, like going back to when I was a kid, she'd always dance in the kitchen to the Stones.
Okay.
And she put on like Jumpin' Jack Flash, which in hindsight is really rock and roll and awesome, you know. But when you're a kid, you're just kind of like, ha, what's that? But, you know, she's always been a firm advocate for just talking to people and listening to people. You know, she's very good at that. Like, you know, you take her to a restaurant and she'll know the whole room by the time you leave, you know. And I think I definitely learned from her that everyone's got a fucking story to tell, you know, and it's worth listening to, and it's worth exploring, you know, the possibilities of what a stranger might have to offer, even if that's just a few words exchanged, you know what I mean? And I definitely got that from her. And then I think the exploration of ideas and the curiosity behind creativity and what it all is, like, what is it? You know, it's this weird fucking thing that we kind of try and get close to, but we can never grab it. Otherwise it'd be gone.
Yeah.
And I think I got that from my father. And they had, you know, growing up was quite tumultuous. It was this long, drawn-out divorce that should have happened quite quickly, but it was non-stop. But my sister, you know, God bless her, I love her so much. She was always there, and we'd always do fun things. We'd make movies together, like these horror movies, which actually I'm trying to get right now the tapes of. But yeah, my mum was just like, she was going through a lot, I think, through a lot of those years as I was kind of coming to, you know, when your brain starts forming and stuff. She had a lot going on, but she's an angel. You know, I got a name tatted right here.
Oh yeah, you do. Do you think like, because like a lot of like your, maybe more so since we've like seen like the Abbie relationship come together, but I've noticed and I admire so much about how you talk about women and how men should be treating women. Like, did that all come from your mum, like teaching you, or like your sister even maybe?
Yeah, I'd say so, you know, without me really knowing it.
Yeah.
I think I always grew up convinced, you know, and I still am convinced that women are the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
stand
agree.
by that.
Yeah.
I stand by that. I don't think there's a dude out there that could be cooler than a woman because women have an innate capability for, they just get it.
Yeah.
I think women just get it more so than men.
Yeah.
We're too caught up in like, I think the ego is something that we can't really tame as well as women. Women actually, I find, can use their ego and kind of work with it. You know, it doesn't take them over. They're stronger. They're stronger in that sense. They're stronger in many senses. But I think, you know, I've got two beautiful nieces that I adore. It's actually the older one's birthday today. But
how old is she turning?
She is now 10.
Shit.
Which is hectic.
Yeah.
You know, my sister and my mother and my auntie Anne, shout out to Auntie Anne. She was always, you know, I think I got a lot of my reference points from women and then also from growing up around a very bro-heavy culture. You know, I grew up skateboarding. Skateboarding was everything, still is everything to me. It shaped me who I am. And I'd like to thank skateboarding for that because skateboarding is not a sexist culture. You know, it's not based within misogyny and it's not a racist culture at all. It's actually a very welcoming culture.
Yeah, interesting.
But it's also at the same time an outcast culture. You know, it's where all the freaks go to play. And I love that about it. And I think through skateboarding and my mother and my sister and my auntie, it kind of created, you know, just the qualities within me that are still evident to this day and will never really die. That, yeah, I think it is insane to see that the majority of dudes have got it fucked up about women.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
You know, one way or another, whether it's like a comment here or there, or like, oh, it was a joke. It's like, yeah, but you know, jokes do have repercussions if it's just constantly fucking
punching
said.
down.
Punching down.
Yeah.
If you're punching down, you're not fucking funny.
it's
Like,
not
let's say it straight. If you're a comic that has to get on stage and you have to punch down for each joke, you're not funny.
It's not funny and it's not creative.
You're a hack. You're just whack. You know, like, it's not creative at all. And, but yeah, I'd say that would definitely have a big part in it all. But also being with Abbie, you know, I've learned so much from her.
Yeah, interesting.
And it's not like she's, you know, she hasn't reconfigured my whole brain chemistry, but I've learned so much from her. To be fair, she has reconfigured my whole brain chemistry because I'm madly in love and infatuated with her. But in the sense of what we're talking about here, in that regard, she has made me realize things that I would overlook as a straight white man in this world, for sure. Because there's certain things where, you know, I wouldn't think twice about certain things, but she goes, well, you have to think about it like this from my angle. And I'm like, yeah, that's a fucking good point when you put it like that, because I wouldn't have thought about that. And there's too many examples to even list here. You know, we'd be here all fucking day if I had to go through it all. Like, she's so intelligent.
Yeah, it's crazy. She's so intelligent.
She's so intelligent. She's a
I
freak.
watch her or like even speak to her when I'm speaking with her. I'm like, I know what you're talking about. Like, I understand what you're saying and I have it in my brain, but the way that you can articulate it and say it to me, I wouldn't have thought about it in that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's things that I envy that about her. Like the way that
I watch her in awe sometimes. When she's talking, it's like she's a conduit for this thing. Like, it comes to her and she can articulate it in a way that only she can.
100%.
And I think, you know, her voice is a vessel that carries through. And, you know, I have young women coming up to me on the street crying, going, thank you so much for your girlfriend's like wisdom and you being an advocate for women. I'm like, you know, I can't take any of those flowers. I mean, sure, thank you. But also at the same time, it's like, I can't take credit for that. I think that's the way that all men should be. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Because being an advocate for women isn't...
I'm by no means a savior, and I'm not the pinnacle of male emotional intelligence at all. You know, nobody's perfect, and I understand that. And I'm not trying to make a call to action that all men should be this pinnacle of, you know, I think that should be the case, but I'm not the dude that's going to fucking stand there and just be like, everything is okay. It's all fucked up, and it's always going to be fucked up. That's the way it is. But with Abbie, she's very aware that everything is fucked up, and she'll stand on that fucking mountaintop and she'll yell about it, and she's so passionate, you know. She's
strong.
She's strong because she's been to hell and back. People don't know that about her. She's been through so much, that woman, you know. Makes me want to cry. Like, she's been through so much, and people don't know that about her. People only know the other side of it. But she has a reason why she's so fired up, you know.
Yeah.
And people label her as an angry woman, and I think that's another thing that we need to fucking get rid of, is like, if a woman's yelling about something, not that she even yells, she doesn't even yell, she just raises her voice a bit because she's passionate. If a woman is passionate about something enough to be saying it with real vigor, that needs to be listened to. You know, look around, like, women fucking brought us here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh yeah, everyone loves their fucking mother. It's like, then show respect.
That's it, right?
You know?
I know.
The same dudes that are like misogynists online. It's like, well, I love my mom. It's like, well, do ya?
And imagine your mum, like, seeing the way that you behave. Like,
Exactly.
they would never in a million years.
Yeah.
The shit that they probably type online, they would never want their mother to see in a million years,
sure.
you know?
For
Like
sure.
that.
For sure.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Do you take any of that sort of, I mean, I guess we can talk about the new album because you've mentioned it. Any of this sort of into the new album? Any of these sorts of...
Yeah, I like to talk about, you know, at the end of the day, men and women are very different. That's a fact. You know, the yin and the yang, it's a very evident thing, you know. And there's so much that men can bring to the table that are very, you know, specific to traits that men possess, and with the women bring to the table that only women can possess. You know, that's part of the dance that is this fucking world that we're in, and life, and whatever we are as species. But I like to talk about, you know, because we all have thoughts. We have perverted thoughts, we have wholesome thoughts, we have joyous thoughts, we have sad thoughts. And I like to kind of talk about all that, you know, and I think it'd be remiss of me to not talk about, you know, whether it might be ugly, it might be pretty, but it's fucking sure as hell there, you know. It's like, just because we're not talking about, you know, a certain issue doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And there's no like social, political issues really discussed across the record, but there are conversations surrounding chemistry, and there's also stories of, you know, there's one song on there that's about an older guy that's fallen in love with a sex worker in a hotel.
Oh, yeah. Interesting.
And these are things that do happen in the world, and I think it's fun to talk about that.
Is that like a fictional story that you've made up?
Somewhat fictional, somewhat non-fictional, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I was staying at a hotel in LA, and I saw this relationship blossoming before my eyes, and
That's
made me
cool.
think about it, yeah. Which, and it was, you know, it's really sweet. It's a real love story, just because it's, you know, a lot of people would put their nose up at that, but I think, you know, it is a love story of sorts, you know. Yeah. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think it's up to me to decipher, I guess, what's coming to my head if I'm writing something.
Yeah.
I'll put it down and I'll examine it, so to speak, but I think it's up to whoever's kind of bumping it in their ears to see what they get from it. And then we can talk, you know, and I'm happy to talk about anything, really.
With the, like, because you were saying with the first album, you feel like you should have sat on it for a bit more, and maybe that comes from, like, you know, always working with Reuben in the writing process, then going out on your own and doing it. Do you feel like this album now, your writing on your own has improved significantly from the first?
Yeah, I think in the last 2 years, 3 years, I've really just... No one's sure of themselves, you know, none of us know what we're doing at all, and I like that. Yeah. And I think the moment I started realising that I'm never going to know what I'm doing, that's when I found a bit of solace in moving forward. And I kind of looked around and realised to myself, what do I want to do? If I want to fucking do it, I should just do it, you know, go for it. I always kind of had this trepidation surrounding the idea of me pursuing ideas on my own. You know, I came from a world where, you know, there was record labels and teams and, you know, a machine of sorts, you know, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm not dissing that, but this was a whole endeavor of like jumping on a little sailboat and kind of going for it. And like, not to sound whimsical, but that's what it felt like. And I learned through the process of this record, Capital Fiction, that like, no, I'm like, I got the shits, you know, like I can do this. I'm with the shits and I can carry the boat. And I can paint the boat, and I can sit in the boat and smile.
And you didn't feel that earlier on?
No.
Interesting.
I didn't at all. I was always very just unsure of every step that I took, you know, and I think we all are. Yeah, I think we all are, and that's a very human thing. But now every step that I take, I think before I put the foot down, and there's intention. And I think the biggest difference has been intention.
It's a good word for it.
And not so much purpose. I think purpose is examined after the fact more so in a way.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not on some like mission statement, but like the intention, it needs to be as pure to like just enjoyment as possible. It can't be based within perception. It needs to be free. If we're talking creation, you know, and then like if we're talking presentation, I think that's another thing as well. There needs to be a lot of intention behind that, and packaging and presentation. I think that's very important. But it's just been a fun process where I've learned more about myself in the last 3 years. And Keli Holiday has been the vessel that's carried me to this new place. And by no means am I the enlightenment guru. You know, I'm not the poster boy for that at all. I've got a lot of stuff that I got to figure out, and we all do. But I have floated down the river to a place where I can smile at the swans a lot more than as opposed to kind of going, you know, which is nice. I like it.
So nice. What's like, I suppose when you started, or like, what does Reuben think of the whole thing? Like, is he super proud of you? Like,
He is. It's beautiful. You know, I love Reuben so much.
Yeah.
I spoke with him on the weekend, and he said really beautiful things to me, you know, like he's such a joyous man. He's like a radiant light.
Yeah.
He's so joyous. He's so joyous. You know, he finds joy in everything. He finds joy in things I couldn't possibly imagine. You know, like, you know, you give him like a piece of chewing gum and he'll just be like, whoa! And it's genuine. It's real. Yeah. And anyone that's met him would agree. He's got a real...
Like it's childlike?
It's childlike. He has a thirst for life. An appetite for the wonders of life. And whatever that wonder is, it's not like he's searching for it either. It's whatever's in front of him.
Yeah, that's lovely.
And I really admire that.
Can live in the now
He lives in the now, and he's gifted with that. You know, a lot of us don't have that. The majority of us don't have that. But I was speaking with him, and I kind of said to him, hey, you know, right now is a really crazy time with what's happening with Keli Holiday. You know, it's unprecedented, for lack of a better word, with the reception of the music and this kind of beautiful embrace that it's having. And, you know, like, I just want you to know, like, I'm always here. Even though I'm over there, I'm still here, you know. I'm still here. I'm your bro. You know, we've been best friends since we were kids. And we've been through a lot together. We've been through a lot of things, you know, grief, happiness, everything in between. And like he really looked me in the eyes. He's like, I'm so proud of you and I want you to fly as high as you can. And he means that as well. I know him well enough to even just see in his eyes what he's thinking. You know, when you know someone that well, even just feeling their aura, you know what they're thinking. And he really meant it. And, you know, to have his I guess pat on the back is nice.
Was it like hectic, or like even now, because like Peking Duck, obviously everybody, Australia-wide, you know, worldwide as well, but know who Peking Duck are. Like was it 2014 you guys were number 2 on Hottest 100?
Number 2 and number 5.
And number 5, like huge, right? But then to have your own project and be an individual, you're much more recognisable, and then also being in like a relationship with Abbie, who's so well known, you know, then you get thrust. Like, were you prepared for that? Like,
it's really funny you say that. I was talking to someone the other day, like, in the last, I don't know, in the last like 5 months, there's been this shift. I think it's the curly hair. Or something. You know, I don't know what something's going on.
I mean, you're not like
I'm not inconspicuous. I definitely can stick out a bit, and I am aware of that, and that's not by design, nor intention. That's not the intention.
Totally.
But it's funny because I kind of realized, like, oh shit, this is like a thing now where, you know, and it's all love, you know. It's like there might be people talking shit online, but I don't really give a fuck about them. But you know, it's become this thing of like, you know, and it's with dancing too, the reception of that song, which is the first offering off this album, Capital Fiction, for that to be associated with this kind of joyous, wholesome thing is really sweet. You know, whether it's a mother with her kids coming up to me, or whether it's like a 16-year-old dude who's like, hey, man. I'm like, this spectrum is a wide embrace. And I'm very, very, very stoked to be included within that, you know. And you know, there has been moments where it's just hectic.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like hectic.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm never going to complain about somebody giving flowers, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. And I'm a firm advocate that everyone should be given flowers at all times.
Yeah, 100%. Dancing too, because like obviously congratulations, like fucking blown out of the water.
Thank you.
Tell me about like you, because I saw you a couple of weeks ago and you were telling me about like it just happened, like it just went viral, like you picked up your phone and all of a sudden it was popping off.
Yeah.
Like what was that moment like?
Quite bizarre.
Yeah.
You know, quite surreal, because whether any artist wants to admit it or not, that's kind of what you want. Like in this day and age, correct me if I'm wrong, you want your shit to be heard.
Yeah.
And I think the main vessel for that now is social media.
Yeah, whether it was rage back then or whether it was whatever. Yeah. 100%.
And I do understand the airing of frustrations from the majority of artists saying, I don't want to do the fucking monkey song and dance in front of a camera.
Yeah.
Because it feels weird. And I do get that. And I don't want to do that either. And what I realized through this is none of it was orchestrated.
Yeah.
The song was presented with a story, because it's a real story. It was a love letter that I wrote to Abbie, which then I put on a song and then spoke about that and just my love for this woman and the union and all the dancing that we did around each other before we started dancing together. And like that then caught on, but it took on its own life.
Yeah.
And that's something that's why it was bizarre and surreal. That's why I use those words, because I remember scrolling through TikTok and it was like, you were dancing. And I was like, it's glitching or something.
Yeah. No way.
It was really bizarre. And I was like, oh shit, it's catching on. And people were soundtracking, you know, the union of their marriage, beating cancer, falling in love, falling out of love, you know, loss and finding themselves. And I was like, Jesus, you know, that's something that's bigger than bigger than music, bigger than anything I could even put into a sentence, you know. So it was a trip, and it still is a trip for sure. But it's also a fragile moment, being the artist that has made the song that people choose to soundtrack these beautiful memories to.
Totally.
I'm like, I don't want to put too much weight on that, because it's like, you know how it is in this world. It's like the moment you put weight on anything, it becomes a thing, you know, and it's nice to let it wash over you and feel the joy that's celebrated from that song. But I also don't want to put too much weight on it, because then I think I would just end up letting myself down, you know. And I've been there before. I've been there in the past, you know. I've been lucky enough to be doing this as a career for almost 20 years now.
I wonder how it would have been different if this was like the first ever song, you know, like,
I'm very grateful that I have had experience in I guess releasing songs and what happens around that.
That's
and like
true.
So I mean I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. I'm happier than I've ever been, and like to be able to share music and still play music on a stage and have it connect with people it's a fucking gift, you know. And I'm very grateful for that.
I got before this, I said to Abbie, I was like, can you send me a video to show to Adam while he's in here? So I've got, hang on, have I got sound on it? I'll have to
That's sick.
Hang on, she's sent us a 3-minute video. There you go.
Just sending you a message about how much I love you, essentially, which is not unusual for us. But I've been thinking about dancing too a lot and how proud I am of you, obviously, for its success. But I'm really proud of that song because I've been asked a lot how it feels to have a song written about me that's done that well, successfully, commercially, whatever. And while that is amazing, the thing about that song is that it isn't actually about me. You know, it is in theory about me. And I love that. You know how much I love that, and I can't listen to it without crying. But it's more about you. It's about how much you have inside you because it came from you. And you say you couldn't have done it without me, and you say that all these beautiful things, but the reality is you wrote that song. It came from your heart and your well of love that you have, not just for me, but for everyone that you interact with. You're the kindest, most interested person I've ever known. You make me laugh every day. You've been the most supportive partner, particularly this year. And I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. And when it comes to dancing too, I guess I want people to know, if they're listening to this, that that isn't an anomaly or something outside of you. That is who you are. That's how you treat me and speak to me every day. Like, you write me poems, you write me songs. Man, there are many songs about me that you haven't released that are equally as incredible, but it's special me knowing that they're just for me. And I just want to thank you for everything you do, not just the overly romantic things like writing me songs or writing me poems or taking me out or booking holidays or, you know, writing me a letter for when I get home just for no reason, but also just how you speak to me and how you love Walter and how you take care of my family and you take care of me. And there are many times that I don't know what I would have done without you, and I think you know that, but yeah, I'm very proud of you. I love you so much. I'll cry to you more when I see you next at home, but I love you and I'm so proud of you, and Dancing 2 is a perfect song. Just like I told you the first time I heard it, it's a perfect fucking song because you're perfect and because it came from you. It's you in a song. It's not just fluff. It isn't bullshit. It isn't you trying to seem like this romantic guy or this overly emotional guy. You are.
I am emotional. I'm fucking crying right now.
Song. And that's why you should be proud of you for writing that song. And stop trying to deflect the props to other people, including me. Just accept it, okay? Anyway, I love you more than anything. And, yeah.
Oh, she's gorgeous.
It's so nice.
Yeah, that made me emotional. That made me cry. I mean, I am an emotional person. Yeah, that made me.
It's just like, I watched it this morning. I was like, that is the nicest message.
Yeah. I mean,
and to put it back onto you as well, you know, like I think that's really.
Yeah, she's instrumental in who I am now. You know, she's a part of me, and I'm a part of her.
Yeah,
and,
it's very clear.
Yeah, the one thing that I really admire so much about Abbie as a person is she constantly instills within me to trust me and be more me. When my instincts say something, to listen to that and lean into that more and more and more. And I think that's one of the most powerful things that one can kind of believe.
I agree.
From a partner, you know, and I think that is real love. That is real love, totally. to constantly, not only to be each other's content, to fill each other in, you know, but I think like to constantly, like she constantly reminds me, and I, like she said in that video, don't deflect. And I do deflect a lot, I don't like, it's not that I can't take a compliment. I can receive a compliment, but I don't like, not that I don't like, I do like it, but I kind of like, I'll always find a way to play down anything of my own. And I think to a degree it can be healthy because I never want to inflate myself, but I think...
It's also the tall poppy thing of Australians, right?
It is,
you know?
it is.
We all do it.
Yeah, we all do it.
Yeah.
And I think it can be healthy in some settings, but, you know, I'm so grateful for her. You know, it's made me quite emotional just thinking about her. You know, she's fucking incredible. That's really sweet though that you got that.
Yeah,
really
I was like, why not? She's been in here. I'm just going to bring...
I didn't think I'd be fucking crying in the tumble club, but here we are. Tears in the laundromat. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Like, I think, like, I always think about it, like with Ollie or like myself, like you have to just trust in yourself and be yourself and lean into that as much as you can. Like, even talking to you now, I'm like, instead of looking at all the notes that I've written, I've just got to trust in myself to just have a conversation. I could easily sit here and go like, okay, I've got to ask that question. You know? But like learning even through this, like if you watch earlier episodes, I was doing that. And now I'm learning to just really trust in myself, you know?
You kind of find as well, through that you can get more comfortable, right? And then what you'll get out of the conversation will be better different. Because
and that's the thing. I'm like, I can't, you know, I try to have control over things. I like to have control, but I can't control how a conversation's going to go because I'm only one side of the conversation. So who knows what's going to happen? You know?
Well said.
You know, like it's.
I mean, that's a big thing, you know, to be able to kind of just accept. Well, I can't control that. Therefore, it's very stoic. You know. Very stoic
Trying
of
my
you.
best.
Yeah, respect. It's a process. It's a process.
I'm not there yet, but I'm
no
trying.
one's there.
Yeah.
No one's there. Even like Marcus Aurelius or whatever his name was. I don't think he was there.
I saw your impression. Is that the impression that you did?
That was Russell Crowe from Gladiator.
Yeah.
Marcus Aurelius. Is that the
Isn't
name of Gladiator?
Yeah.
What's the name of the stoic guy?
I don't know. I think Marcus Aurelius.
Is it Aurelius? Do you know? Russell Crowe in Gladiator's character is Maximus Meridius.
Oh, okay, very similar.
Maximus Meridius.
That's right. Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. To wrap up, I just want to talk to you. We were both just recently in the Ossify Your Algo campaign with Music Australia. And I just guess in your own words, why is it important for you to be involved with that campaign for like Ossify, but then why is it important for Australians to consume Australian music?
Aussie music is at an all-time low as far as listening is concerned, which is concerning because, you know, the proof's in the pudding with what we've had to offer in the past and what we have currently cooking.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking the highest selling record of all time, second highest selling record of all time is AC/DC's Back in Black. And I think that's just insane.
Yeah.
Like that's absurd how incredible that is. Yeah. You know, there's some, you know, they started around the corner here.
Nuts, hey?
It's nuts.
Nuts.
And like, you know, you look at all the great art that's come from this country, it needs to be celebrated and it needs to start from grassroots level because I understand with algorithms getting thrown at us left, right, and center, it is hard to find your way through. But we do have the power to curate our algorithms.
Yeah.
And like through searching more Aussie artists, I guarantee there's something for everyone. Yeah. It's supporting what's around you. And I guarantee you can go to a show and meet these people.
Yeah.
And you can tell them how much their music, because music changes people.
100%.
Music. If it weren't for music, I don't know what, you know, I would be a shell.
Yeah.
I would not have... Music is a vessel for emotion and feeling things and then expressing things, you know. Like when I first heard Wu-Tang, they're not Australian artists at all, but it made me kind of figure out who I am a bit more in a weird way.
I agree.
And then...
people say things, you hear a line in a song and you're like, I resonate with that.
For sure.
I couldn't have put it that way, but that's, oh my God, I totally feel that. And now I can like think about that and move and shift in my own way. 100%.
And I guarantee there are Australian artists out there that they will do that for Australian people.
Yeah.
Whether you're young, old, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's never too late to start supporting more. And it's all out there. We just got to start pushing it more in the algorithm because it ain't in there at the moment.
Totally.
There's something that music can do that just can grab you and fuck your shit up in the right way, you know?
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah.
100%. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
It's an honor.
And I can't wait to have you back.
Yeah, fuck you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Cool.
Right.